Tonight, Speaker of Parliament declares 2024 budget has not been approved as he contradicts Finance Minister and the majority side, creating huge uncertainty over the 2024 budget with government desperate to secure approval.
But as we sit today, what you have is that he believes that the ayes have it. And that's what I'm taking out from here.
The budget statement and economic policy is still before the House.
We're live in Parliament tonight where the 2024 budget still hangs in a balance.
This is Top Story with Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Vodafone. It was just yesterday when the Finance Minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, uttered these following words.
I mean, usually everything is an opinion in a sense if you want to define it as such. And so there's a challenge, there's a walkout, the Speaker has come back, he's adjourning it till tomorrow, maybe to hear that application. But as we sit today, what you have is that he believes that the ayes have it. And that's what I'm taking out from here.
That means if that challenge is not resolved from January 1, you are going into the consolidated fund to spend.
No, I'm going to the consolidated fund because the ayes have it.
That means that are you disappointed the majority MPs walked out? Are you disappointed the majority MPs walked out on their own budget?
No, I haven't really made a declaration of that. Yeah. So thank you very much indeed. But the ayes have it, and we have a budget for the country.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, it turns out 24 hours on that they really do not have a budget. The Speaker of Parliament, Abang Bagbin, has declared that the 2024 budget has not yet been approved and is still before the House for consideration. As you may recall, confusion rocked Parliament yesterday when the majority walked out on the budget approval process following a challenge filed by the minority during a voice vote to approve the statement. We'll hear from the Speaker shortly, but first listen to the minority leader, Dr. Keksela Tufosin, demanding that the Speaker rule on the matter following comments by the Finance Minister, which I just played to you earlier.
Contrary to what we have here, that the voice vote was accordingly challenged, of which, Mr. Speaker, you upheld the challenge and called for a head count. The information out there, led by the minister responsible for finance, is that the budget has been approved. Mr. Speaker, this matter is grave, and there is the need for us to set the record straight. Mr. Speaker, this is particularly important because a budget statement is an important document of state. Ghanaians have the impression that the budget has been approved, whilst we here knows that the budget has not been approved. So, Speaker, as we speak, the budget has not been approved by the Parliament of Ghana. And it's important for the people of Ghana to be made aware of. So, Speaker, I called on the majority leader to correct the records and to urge the minister responsible for finance to desist from the comment. So, Speaker, I also urge you to set the record straight, because there is a lot of confusion out there. There is a lot of confusion out there because impressions has been created that the budget has been approved, whilst we in this House knows for sure that the budget is hanging. So, Speaker, we are waiting on you. Thank you.
Let me take you to Parliament now. I want to bring in parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante. Kweku, before we even come to the Speaker's pronouncement on this, I'm curious about what I was watching on television today. The entire Parliament appeared very empty. Is it because the majority side didn't come or the minority side? Well, what really happened here?
Well, Evans, if you came to Parliament today, the scenes were that of a half-full house. In fact, if you look at the minority benches, almost all NDC MPs were there because their expectation was that they were going to take another vote on the 2024 budget, and they are insistent that they are going to reject it. On the other side of the majority, there were literally empty stands with the exception of the front bench were the majority leader himself, his deputy Alexander Senyomakin, the chief whip Frank Anodompre, and his deputy Habib Idrisu. Only 4 of them were in the chamber. At some point, I saw KTM around, but he never came to the floor to do business. Only these 4 leaders on the majority side were there. Now, understanding is clear that the majority did not see anything to come to the floor to do, and they had literally decided that they were boycotting proceedings, but their leadership was going to be there to take care of urgent business, just in case the minority wanted to spring any surprise that would destabilize government's plans.
So for them, this is a done deal, and it was done yesterday, as you heard the finance minister say.
Yes, but it appears they are backtracking that on that a little bit. The majority leader was on the floor to respond to the concerns of the minority leader, and he now did not outrightly say that the budget has been passed, but he sought to make a distinction to say that there has been an initial voice vote which has been approved by the House. Although that has been challenged, what is outstanding is the head count to be taken, and that it will be inappropriate to generally say that the budget has not been approved. Listen to him before the Speaker made his ruling.
By whatever event that the minority leader is relating to when he says to us that the budget is hanging. Mr. Speaker, the page 12 that captures the votes and proceedings. Page 12, item 8. The last, Right Honourable Speaker resumed the chair, question put, and in the opinion of the chair, motion agreed to. The motion was for the approval of the budget statement and economic policy of government. So your own votes and proceedings indicate to you that the question was put, and in the opinion of the Speaker, who was in the chair, the motion was agreed to. Mr. Speaker, subsequent to that, we are told that the head count was sought by the deputy minority leader. Mr. Speaker, that request is the one that is hanging, not the motion, not the decision. Mr. Speaker, people should understand. What is here is that the question was put and agreed to. And that is what the Speaker declared. That's the determination of the Speaker. Subsequently, a request was made by the deputy leader. That request has not been sufficiently addressed. And so that request that is hanging, if you understand what is going on. Stepped out, we did not misinform the public. We related to the truth as happened in this house. We related to the truth as happened in this house. Mr. Speaker, so we have not misinformed the public. What we spoke to is captured right here in the votes and proceedings. That the question on whether or not the motion for the approval of the budget statement and economic policy should be done by this House was done, and the ayes had it. The Speaker, that is what is here, and nobody here has challenged that the question was put, and in the opinion of the chair, the motion was agreed to. The Speaker, as I've said, subsequently, a head count was sought by the deputy minority leader. Mr. Speaker, it is that head count, that application, that is still not dispensed with. That head count has not been dispensed with. It should not be confused under any circumstances. Anybody who knows parliamentary practice, it should not be confused under any circumstances that the Speaker has not said that the ayes have it. Mr. Speaker, and then when you say that the ayes have it, and people are making issue about it, Mr. Speaker, The ayes have it. It's a term of art in any parliament. And it's a tragedy for people who don't even appreciate this. It's a tragedy on the part of people who don't even appreciate it.
How did the speaker rule on this?
Evans, after the speaker listened to both leaders, he was categorical that, in fact, if you look at the other paper, the motion has still been listed. And as far as he is concerned, as far as Parliament is concerned, the 2024 budget has not been approved by the House, and directed that the business committee reschedule that decision to next week for Parliament to take a vote.
And I direct that the business committee should reschedule the issue for next week for us to finally take a decision on the budget. The budget statement and economic policy of the government for the year 2024 is still before the House. And so the business committee will reschedule it for next week. It's before the House. It's not hanging. Nobody has hung it on any tree or any pole. It's still before the House. It's not a matter that Speaker should be seen or heard debating in public, because it's still before the House, and the final decision will be taken most likely next week. We have, as noted by all of you, done a lot of work on the review of the standing orders. And that one too, we'll do all we can to place it before you next week.
So, Kweku, there we have it. The Speaker says it's still before the House. Despite what we've just heard there, we had some minority members who were demanding for a vote. Hello, Kweku. Okay, we may have lost him there. I will try and get him back, because I understand from the happenings today, there were a significant number of minority MPs who were pushing for a vote on this matter today. As you may know, they managed to get a significant number of their members onto the floor today, and they were ready for a showdown. Kweku?
Yes, the Speaker of Parliament did not listen to that concern of theirs, but Ahmed Ibrahim was clear that Parliament must be seen to be working, and that the majority side, if they were minded not to come to the floor to do business, they were ready and were willing to take the vote immediately.
This is the book of rules and procedure. Everything is clear here. So, Mr. Speaker, we came today to take a decision on the budget. Today too, they've run away to take a decision. Mr. Speaker, looking at the numbers here, even though you have indicated that the business committee should settle it for its decision to be taken next week. Mr. Speaker, we have barely 3 or 4 weeks to go on recess. Mr. Speaker, I think once it has been programmed and the members are here, the leader of the House is here, Mr. Speaker, we have the numbers to go ahead. Mr. Speaker, we have the numbers to go ahead, and we are ready to help them. Mr. Speaker, time is not on our side. As I speak to you, Mr. Speaker, if you listen to the minority leader rendition yesterday, Ghana, we are in crisis. Mr. Speaker, we are in a street. And you can't be in a street and be joking. We must assist, Mr. Speaker, for us to address the issues. So, Mr. Speaker, clearly speaking, Mr. Speaker, as leadership of the House, we must account for our numbers to come and do business in the House. Mr. Speaker, we have time, we've been voted for, and we are voted for to come and do business on behalf of Ghanaians. And that is why we have come. Mr. Speaker, today is today, and the decision must be taken. You want the decision to be taken, the decision is on the other paper, and it must be taken today. We are ready for the decision today. And the decision must be taken now.
Kweku, so what happened after this demand?
Well, the Speaker of Parliament did not listen to that. He said that he has made his directive. As far as he's concerned, this vote is expected to happen next week. And in fact, it may not even be Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. The information we are taking is that at the pre-sitting meeting, the agreement was that this vote is held on the 7th, which will be around Thursday next week, which is going to add a lot of salt to the injury of the Finance Ministry, who need this appropriation, who need this statement to be passed, so that the committees in Parliament can start working on the various estimates, which will ultimately lead to the passage of the Appropriation Act before or on the 22nd of December, when MPs will be scheduled to go on Christmas break. So that has been the scene in the House. It's been a Parliament today of two tails. The majority completely not coming into the floor to prosecute the business that has been scheduled for today, except their leadership, who came, of course, to guard and protect their interests.
And on that point,
clearly there in their numbers, seeking to do business and vote, but the Speaker saying, no, let's do so next week.
And Kweku, on that point about the majority leadership being on the floor, and there's just a few of them, just about 3 of them, and that became an issue in itself because Kwame the Agboja, who obviously is the minority chief whip, was very clear that the Speaker should go ahead as a form of a sanction for their decision not to come and work on behalf of the people that they represent. He wanted the House to do normal business in the absence of the minority.
Mr. Speaker, the world is watching us. If they have an issue why they decided not to come to work, they have to say, Mr. Speaker, I still don't feel comfortable that the business statement as read by the majority on behalf of the majority by the Deputy Whip should be adopted, Mr. Speaker, so that we can send a signal that there was something wrong with the sitting today, Mr. Speaker. I wish we can actually defer the adoption of today's business statement until Monday, when we see more of our colleagues on the other side. Because they are not here. And the majority leader has failed to tell us that, today too, we are boycotting. We have decided that only the 2 of us we are here. Mr. Speaker, when we were closing yesterday, we thought we were coming here this morning to continue with what is captured under item 10, the motion. So, Mr. Speaker, they can't decide that the passage of the budget, for the first time,
we have to decide.
A government have decided, don't approve my budget until next week Thursday. The government, which is broke, which is looking for everything they can find, who is begging everybody in the world, is begging the minority, don't come and approve our budget until next week Thursday. Mr. Speaker, today is not a normal day.
It's historic.
Today is a historic day. I'm not aware of any government that has actually asked that this budget should not be approved when people are ready to approve the budget. So, Mr. Speaker, the least we can do is to defer the decision to adopt the business of next week to next week, so we find a little bit more of them. As we were speaking, the Deputy Whip just came in. There are just 3 in Parliament today. The world would like to know, how come only 3 of you from the New Patriotic Party are in Parliament today? Out of 138. Mr. Speaker, today is not a normal day. And Mr. Speaker, I'm pleading with you, defer the adoption of, I know we don't vote on it, defer the adoption of today, next week business until Monday. We want to see more of them in the chamber before we take that decision, Mr. Speaker. It is very, very important. We can never pretend that, in fact, even on our side, the numbers are depleted. Out of frustration from the other side, colleagues are even leaving the chamber. So, Mr. Speaker, we cannot pretend today is a normal day.
And Kweku, as we've just heard there, we have obviously seen that this has now been extended to next week.
Yes, Evans. When it comes to the business statement, the Speaker of Parliament implored on Kwame Agboja to tone down on his demand, and that this business statement is really crucial for Parliament business planning for next week. And so, as for the business statement, it has been adopted despite the concerns expressed by the minority chief whips. They wanted the public and the Ghanaian public generally to see that NDP MPs were not on the floor today. The Speaker of Parliament said, well, Parliament's events are beamed live on Facebook and YouTube, and the Ghanaian public will see which of their representatives was or were in the House today to do business on their behalf. And so it is not important necessarily to hold on business because the majority MPs fail to show up. He says if some side of the House decide not to come to Parliament, public business in the House will not wait for them. They will almost always continue to do the business they can do with the numbers they have. And once they have been able to form quorum, the business has to progress. So when it comes to this appeal from the chief whip on the minority side, it was not listened to. The business statement was adopted, and next week that is what will guide the House in doing business.
Okay, I want to bring in Professor Godfrey Bokwing, who is, of course, an economist who joins us right now with the University of Ghana Business School. And Prof, this budget, how significant is it? There's a sense you hear in Parliament that this is so critical, both to our ability to access the $600 million, second release from the IMF, and that any delay in getting this approved can have devastating consequences for our economy. The reason why the finance minister was very eager yesterday announcing to the world that it has been approved. Is it that significant?
Well, Evans, good evening, and good evening to our church listeners. Yeah, well, in terms of what is needed for Ghana to get the next tranche of the IMF-supported inflows, the 600 million, has nothing to do with the 2024 budget. No, because it is very clear from the IMF document, supported program document, what Ghana needed to do in order to assess the next 600 million. The 2024 budget is not one of them. Evans, what is outstanding, what is standing in the way of Ghana, has to do with the agreement from the official creditor committee. It's not even the total external debt we are looking at here. We are looking at the external bilateral. So we needed agreement from there for the IMF board to consider Ghana's first review, for which reason we could get the 600 million. It has nothing to do with the 2024 budget. That said, I believe that Parliament should look at the 2024 budget comprehensively in the best interest of Ghana and then do what is needful. But it should not be, it cannot, because it's actually not in the document. That is a precondition. And therefore the two are separate. What is needed for Ghana to get the next 600 million has more to do with our external bilateral negotiations with the official creditor committee. It's not even with the external commercial when it comes to Eurobonds. It has to do with the external bilateral, the official creditor committee, co-chaired by China and France. That is where the issue is right now.
But there were some key IMF, I guess, inspired measures that had been put in this budget. And we know in the past when the huge debate and controversy around the budget, whether it was approved or not, it then had impact on the confidence that, this country needed to do business and to grow further. Isn't this why this is such an important point, that it doesn't become a hot political subject that then further, creates economic challenges and a time of great sensitivity?
Yes, within the overall scheme of consolidating the gains that we have made, it is important that the budget is considered objectively, analyzed, and then approved. That is consistent with our expectations, but it is not tied to getting the next 600 million inflows from the IMF. We have said, look, when the IMF came to town, they considered the first review, which has to do with Ghana's progress as at the end of June 2023. And then they also look at it prospectively with respect to the September end targets. These were targets prior to the presentation of the 2024 budget to Parliament. And therefore, whatever measures that are contained in the 2024 budget will be assessed subsequently. So therefore, overall, we expect that government business will not be held back. But even to say that is what is standing in our way from getting the 600 million is not entirely true.
Thank you very much, Prof. Grateful that you could join us. MP for Tamale Central, Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, former Deputy Trade Minister, joins us right now on the line, of course, on the minority side. Thank you very much, Murtala, for your time here on Top Story. In effect, you got what you wanted today. You were insistent yesterday that the budget has not been approved. The Speaker agrees with you. So you live to fight another day, in essence, next week. But the majority will bring their numbers. Many suggest that if you look at the numbers, this is still an exercise in futility.
Well, Evans, our position is not just about numbers and as to whether the budget has been approved or not. We are paid by the people of this country to work. And therefore, we need to be in Parliament to discharge that responsibility. Unfortunately, what we witnessed today was a betrayal even to the majority caucus. You have your members who you directed not to come to Parliament, yet you came to Parliament. It speaks volumes. Because I thought that if the directive was that they shouldn't come to Parliament, the leadership wouldn't come to Parliament. And that was the reason why some of us were of the opinion that we didn't need to pass the business statement. Because assuming the minority also asked our members not to come, then there wouldn't have been any business to discharge by Parliament next week. So they directed their members not to come, yet they wanted to use our numbers to have business of government done next week. And I think that it doesn't augur well for our democracy. On the matter of whether the budget statement was approved or not, I guess it's been settled. And the minority leader couldn't even argue otherwise. So one thing I just want them to know, the posture doesn't augur well for the interests of this country and also the government. Because mind you, passing the financial statement itself is not what is critical. What is critical is the appropriation. Now, if you go with that posture, that as far as you are concerned as the Minister for Finance, the budget was passed. What is critical is the appropriation, without which government cannot expend. So I think that the majority leadership should think twice. In fact, yesterday, after the incident, I engaged two senior colleagues from the NPP side, and they expressed absolute disgust about the action because they felt that as members of Parliament, they could have even prevailed upon the Speaker to suspend sitting so that the leadership of both sides will go into plenary and I will go into the Speaker's office at least to find an amicable solution to the problem. Mind you, this is not the first time the MPP has worked on their budget. This is the second time they have done that. As a political science student, when I was reading about political engagement, even under the Fourth Republic, working out was associated largely to opposition parties. It is only under this administration that the government or party in power has staged more work out even than the opposition. And I don't think that it gets well for our democracy.
Thank you, Ramutala Mohammed. That's the MP for Tamale Central there. What's your own take on this? The budget still hangs in the balance, and we wait next week. There will be another attempt by the majority side and the finance minister to have it approved. Send us your WhatsApp, 05511119997.
Oh, yes, Agro.
Oh, Charlie, sorry, you the bed?
But it's not at this time. But what do you mean?
Okay, well, since you picked the call already, you hear say Vodafone gets some new feature called Vodafone Flexi. Apparently, no matter the amount I get, I go fit buy any voice, data, or broadband bundle. Whether it be 100 Ghana, 10 Ghana, or 1 Ghana. Charlie, any Ghana, I fit use Vodafone Flexi.
Okay, so if you pay me the 5 Ghana you owe me since last 2 weeks, I be me too, I go fit do the Vodafone Flexi song. Hello?
Yes, don't get left behind on what's new. To use Vodafone Flexi, dial *200# *700# or *900# now. Terms and conditions apply.
Vodafone, further together.
EcoBank Mobile, they make me say, EcoBank Mobile, they make me crazy. Download it and use it. It gon' make your life so easy. Download it. You go enjoy it. You can buy credit, you can pay school fees, even chest tights with the Apple. EcoBank Apple.
Life is easy with the EcoBank mobile app. You can pay your bills, transfer to and from mobile wallet, virtual card creation, transfer to other banks, express account opening, scan and pay, express cash, all at your fingertips with the EcoBank mobile app. You know, it's 5-star life with EcoBank. Can promise.
All right, can we do this together? Get ready for an unforgettable evening of melodies and inspiration.
Join us at the University of Ghana Medical Center's car park for the Benefit concert on Friday, December 8, 2023.
Experience the harmonies of hope with performances by the incredible Joe Metal, Koda, Neokai, Joyful Way Incorporated, and the UGMC Choir.
This concert is in collaboration with Chango, the crowdfunding platform to raise 50 million Ghana cedis for an inpatient clinical trials unit, the first of its kind in sub-Saharan Africa.
Dial star 887 star 222 hash on all networks to support.
You can also support by going to the changoapp.com and searching for UGMC, or even going straight to the UGMC website.
For more information, call us on 0249 686396. See you there.
And it's 3 days to join News National Dialogue on Illegal Mining. Good evening and welcome to News Night. Tonight, brace yourself for intense fight back. Tonight, former Auditor General Daniel Domelevo charges Special Prosecutor Kisie Jabing to toughen up for more grand schemes to undermine his office.
I think this is a wake-up call for him, and I want to also advise him that he should know that it's going to be more. Now, I think this is the warming up stage. As he goes into holding people accountable.
We'll get to hear from the Ghana Bar Association on that grand scheme that the special prosecutor talks about in the judiciary. Now, tonight, no first year should report to school. Speaker of Parliament directs as he holds the Education Minister with a charge to reverse decision for first year SHS students to report to school on Monday, barely a week after school placement was announced.
To hold on. In other words, the students are not to report. And the minister should be here on Monday to brief the House. In other words, we agree that it's not proper for the academic work to resume Monday. I mean, it's not even practicable. They will go there and there will be a lot of frustration.
We'll get to hear the details live from Parliament and reactions as well.
And in business, Bank of Ghana pegs total transaction for more money transaction for last year at a little over 1 trillion Ghana cedis.
And in sports, Ghana Black Queens are poised to overcome Namibia in the last round of qualifiers for the 2024 Women's African Cup of Nations.
We have that and more in tonight's edition of News Night. Please do want to join us with your thoughts and comments via WhatsApp 055-11-11997. You're watching live on Facebook, also on X. You can leave your comment there with the hashtag News Night. I am Emefa Apawu.
My name is Evans Mensah. We start tonight from what has been a big story since yesterday. Former Auditor General Daniel Domelevo is wading into that controversy now, urging the Special Prosecutor Kisie Jabing to brace for stiff resistance as he steps up attempts by his office to fight corruption and related offences.
Well, the Special Prosecutor Kisie Jabing yesterday alleged a grand scheme by some judges to dismiss cases brought before the court by his office. Mr. Kisie Jabing told journalists at that news conference yesterday that there's a developing trend of some judges skewing cases against the OSP, which has the potential to hamper the fight against corruption.
There appears to be a developing trend of rather regressive and dismissive judicial decisions in respect of cases involving the OSP, with troubling consequences. And it seems to us that a careful examination of these outcomes portends a disturbing spectre that the fight against corruption is being hampered to the disbenefit of us all. And I do not say these things lightly. 4 instances will suffice. In one case, the OSP applied to the High Court for a confirmation of a freezing order in respect of a deceased person's estate. The judge refused to confirm the order by, in effect, holding that the OSP had come too late since the person of interest had died, and that his death had extinguished the inquiry commenced after the occurrence of death. We publicly commented on this outcome, and the danger of this outcome is obvious, members of the press. It is to the effect that a person may, in his lifetime, acquire property through corruption, and then upon his demise, happily pass on the corruptly acquired property to his estate, and by so doing, extinguish all scrutiny as to the propriety or otherwise of the acquisition of the property, because his corrupt activities were not discovered during his lifetime.
Well, so that's Kisie Jabing yesterday, and among others, we heard him also talk about how judges are ganging up against him. But former Auditor General Daniel Domelevo says the special prosecutor must staffing up for more schemes to undermine his office. He spoke on the Super Morning Show.
I don't think so. Let me say that I generalize it, but there are exceptions. There are several situations in which you see the court has done the right thing. But what I said was a generalization. He may need to go a bit further for us to know whether the court has actually ganged up against him or not, especially when he's able to dot all the I's and cross all the T's, or tick all the boxes, ensure that he has no procedural issue. But I know the judges and the lawyers will tell you that procedure is very important. So I think this is a wake-up call for him. And I want to also advise him that he should know that it's going to be more. Now, I think this is the warming up stage. As he goes into holding people accountable, the fight.
I think our connection.
Well, so that's Daniel Domelevo there speaking this morning on the Super Morning Show. Well, co-chair of the Citizen Movement Against Corruption, Edem Senanu, backed calls for the special prosecutor to stand firm and not be intimidated by ploy to discourage him in his campaign to make corruption an unattractive venture.
When you fight corruption, corruption fights back. So there would be different levels of individuals and institutions who are not happy with the effort to ensure that you minimize and, as it were, try and eradicate corruption. I think that what is required is a mindset that one should just continue to robustly deal with these issues that as they come up and not be intimidated or overwhelmed by things that happen. And I think that that's the way to go. So you will not have a situation where people make it easy for you to deal with this fight. But the longer we keep at it, and when we play a much more greater, put a lot more emphasis on nurturing integrity and honesty, that will help reduce the incidents where people feel frustrated when they are fighting corruption. What matters is just ensuring that the evidence you put out, because whether he's right or wrong will be determined by case analysis of the facts of the specific issue or scenario in question. And as he adduces those facts for others to also look at, you can then draw a conclusion as to whether there's a particular trend emerging where one institution appears to be frustrating or impeding the work of the office.
And there's grave concern, as you can see, former Auditor General talking about this, the anti-corruption campaigners who talking about this. But there are a few parts of what he said yesterday that has resonated with a lot of people, causing the major controversy. And this is the part where he alleges that there may be a conspiracy on behalf of some of the judges to gang up against him.
This policy is as novel as the office itself, and much like every aspect and operation of this office, the policy has generated public debate on its propriety or otherwise. Those who applaud this policy of transparency see it for what it is: public information and assurances of the position of the office on the fight against corruption, and nothing more. Those who decry it see it as an attack on the judiciary. Indeed, I have had several calls from well-meaning lawyers admonishing me that they have heard talk that our friends who have been elevated to the bench and presiding over cases in court do not take very kindly to criticism, especially of the public calling out variety as we do. And that if the office persists in the media releases, the judges will gang up against the office and throw out all our cases. Mind you, members of the press, the collective admonition is from very senior and experienced lawyers who are men and women of the world.
Before we can bring in now the spokesperson for the Ghana Bar Association, Xavier Kuje, joins us right now. Xavier, thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Evans, thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
And you know what? They always say that the GBA is the unofficial mouthpiece for the judiciary. What's your take on what we heard yesterday from the OSP?
Well, the position we have is that his approach is not the most appropriate. He's a seasoned lawyer. He has gone to court, and the court of first instance had delivered a decision not in his favor. I would have expected him to exhaust the legal process, maybe by filing an appeal against the decision of the court of first instance, even up to the Supreme Court, and even invoke the review jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. For instance, when Dr. Opuni's case was to be reheard altogether, the decision of the High Court, Attorney General went to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal reversed it. Now, the OSP may have powers, but in enforcing those powers, he must also observe procedures. Because, for instance, if you're an employee of an organization and the organization has a handbook or manual that details step-by-step procedures to be observed before dismissing a staff, and there's evidence that the staff has misconducted himself, and yet they didn't follow the procedure before dismissing him. When that dismissal gets to court, the case will go against the organization. So I think that he should have exhausted the legal process before coming out, because even if the allegation is that judges have ganged up against his office, once he has evidence, he could have had a process to leave this evidence in the Superior Court for the court to determine.
But he also raises fundamental issues around some of the decisions of the court, including one about whether or not he can investigate suspects. And he says that's not the remit of the courts.
No, you see, that is the more reason why he ought to have followed the legal process to the letter. Because if you think a judge had given a decision in excess of his jurisdiction, he knows what to do. You don't organize a press conference. You follow the legal process to the end.
And you say follow the legal process to the end, but this clearly, if you listen to him, he feels he's being frustrated, and he is not only talking about one judge, in essence referring to the entire judiciary. He's almost having said it categorically, but you sense he's lost faith in the judiciary itself, and that's why he's taking his case to the court of public opinion.
Evans, I would disagree with him, and that is unfortunate, because we have a cost structure in Ghana. From the High Court, for instance, go to the Court of Appeal and the Supreme Court. I am not sure he has exhausted the processes up to the Supreme Court, to the extent of even invoking the review jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. So we may look frustrated. We all do our work with certain expectations. But a judge says that you are not a judge. You can only make your case. If the judge appeared not to have understood you and gave a decision contrary to your expectations, you move the process by either going on appeal or do whatever you can do for that decision to be reversed. Should the appellate court find reason in your argument?
Now, Xavier, considering that the OSP is one of you, you may be the unofficial mouthpiece of the judges, I should say, but knowing that he's one of you and has made these comments, he's frustrated in the fight against corruption. Is there a particular process, anything that will be triggered as knowing that he's made these comments? You mentioned that you disagree with him, but what really will happen going forward, you'd say?
Well, he's one of us. You see, our practice as lawyers hinges on consultation. So maybe you will have to call him. That because the concern I have is that there is no evidence that he had exhausted the legal process. If he had done that, that would have been a different matter. Then maybe we can now go to the Chief Justice and say, look, this is what is happening. There are procedures to be observed, processes to be followed. They have not been followed.
But I'm surprised that you take a position, Mr. Kuje, I'm surprised you take a position when this man made these comments 24 hours ago. The Bar Association has not heard from him and taking a position?
No, you see, these are court proceedings. You don't need to hear from any lawyer. Every lawyer knows that when you send a case to a court of first instance and you disagree with the decision, for instance, the decision that he could not investigate certain offenses, he should have gone ahead to the Court of Appeal to try to reverse that decision. If he doesn't succeed, then he goes to the Supreme Court. If he doesn't succeed, he revokes the he invoked the review jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. That would have been exhausted. So for me, I think that it was too early for him to have expressed his frustration because he had not concluded the process.
But considering that this is a man frustrated about the fight against corruption, the Bar Association ought to be concerned if somebody who has been put in charge is frustrated in fighting corruption. Are you not worried also?
No, we may be worried, but is the timing of the frustration relevant? If the Supreme Court had delivered a verdict on the very decisions that he's worried about, that would be another matter. But what we are saying is that higher courts are there. Why didn't he just go there saying that, oh, this lower court didn't understand my argument, so look at it and see what you can do about it. That's why I gave you the example of the Attorney General. When the High Court said Dr. Opuli's case should be started all over, the Attorney General went to the Court of Appeal, and the Court of Appeal disagreed with the High Court.
What does this do to the public confidence in the courts?
I don't think that it does anything, because I have always maintained that we need to educate people to understand how the judicial or the adjudication process works.
Yeah, but
the
this is coming from,
that this is coming from a very
clear person
who is a lawyer. If you were some other public officer, I wouldn't have had any issues at all. But he is a lawyer. He has every right. He may have issues, but the approach is what we are concerned about.
You make the point he's a lawyer. He's not just a lawyer. He is the special prosecutor, a very seasoned lawyer in effect. Definitely, his concerns reinforces the public notion. If you look at all the survey done about confidence in the judiciary, it's low. It reinforces that concern, is it not? That there's something fundamentally wrong with the judiciary.
That is why I am concerned that if he had exhausted the legal process, I don't think we would have been having this conversation. But here is a case where he had avenues to redress whatever his concerns are legally, yet he elected to hold a news conference or a press conference. What we say is this: if this were coming from a lay person, where we would have assumed that the person did not know exactly what to do. But he is a lawyer of high standing, very respectable lawyer. We expected him to have moved to the next stage. If he didn't get what he wanted, then he could organize his press conference. Even that, some of us wouldn't have done that, because once you had exhausted the legal process, that ended it. You can only discuss this in your private capacity, maybe at home or something.
Do we agree that anti-graft bodies ought to be in the public eye and be talking as often as possible?
Yes, we agree, but the point is that people who are accused of even committing such offenses also have rights. That is why the courts will insist that you follow procedure in investigating and prosecuting them, should need be. The courts will only insist on that. So my advice would be that all public institutions may have powers, but in using those powers, they should be mindful of the procedural steps that they will have to cross before getting the results that they want.
I heard you say finally and briefly that you will be calling the OSP. When will that be done?
Well, it's one of us that we can even call any time from now. That is if you honor our invitation, just to give him the support. Yes.
And he definitely has the GBA supporting his fight against graft?
Why not? Okay. Why not? We will be the first people to say that corruption is a good thing. Why not? I am one person who always say that a judge can never convince me that he's been compromised, unless you are not serious. How can they compromise the judge? It means you don't even know why you are there. Because certain offices are not just for anybody. So if you are not a man of integrity, don't even take up the appointment as a judge. Don't even apply.
We're grateful. That's Xavier Kuje, speaks for the Ghana Bar Association. Another leg of this whole press conference from the special prosecutor is the issue about payroll fraud. And this is something that we've been fighting for some time now. Thankfully, Mr. Kusibuafo, CEO, Public Sector Reforms, joins us. But my colleague Elton Brobe captures everything for us.
Jabin announced the start of investigations into the public sector payroll. He only repeated what was said by his predecessor Martin Amidu 5 years ago.
The Auditor General's office and my office, so we have agreed that while he's doing his work during the payroll audit, when he finds any suspicions of the commission of crime, he would signal us so that we will move in immediately and begin an investigation. So by the time the exercise is finished, if there are people who have committed any corruption or corruption-related offenses, we will deal with them together with their self-seeking collaborators.
Perhaps same script, but different cast today.
The OSP has commenced corruption risk assessment and investigation into suspected corruption and corruption-related offenses in respect of Government of Ghana Payroll Administration. The assessment and investigation are especially aimed at isolating and removing non-existent names, recovering wrongful payments, and the prosecution of persons suspected to be culpable for any offenses.
But the search for the ever-evasive missing ghost on the public payroll didn't start today. Successive governments announced different methods to keep the ghost at the cemetery, but success continued to elude the nation. Indeed, in January this year, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission announced a similar exercise, which is still ongoing. Here is Chief Executive Officer of the Commission, Ben Arthur.
We want to be sure that this year all public sector institutions that are receiving their pay directly or indirectly from government subvention will take first steps to sanitize their payroll.
According to the Ghana Statistical Service, there are 688,000 people on the public payroll, and government spent over 45 billion cedis on their salary and other allowances in 2023. The figure, according to the 2024 budget, is expected to hit 57 billion cedis. Former Auditor General Daniel Demelevo and the Director General of the Internal Audit Service, Dr. Eric Odosai, thinks something must be done about the public payroll.
The payroll bill is becoming too big, and there's an increased allegations and findings from some of our audits on people using the payroll as a means of enhancing or making their personal economic recovery programs.
There are issues of missing names, there are issues of unknown names, there are issues of people with different dates of birth, there are issues of people using other people's vehicles for car maintenance allowance and all of that. We are not going to chase the ghosts for the ghost to come back.
But will Kisi Ejabem and his team be successful to read the payroll of ghost names? Time will tell. Elton Brobe for Joy News.
Well, the Civil and Local Government Staff Association at Ghana CLOCSAC says they are fed up with the never-ending investigations on the public payroll. Executive Secretary Dr. Isaac Bampuado speaks on the subject.
And this idea of ghost name goes to go to. We've heard it too much. We have permanent department units under Ministry of Finance do biometric, all in the name of ghost name. We have validation, where a third party, they are doing validation for salaries, all in the name of ghost name. Consultants that have been awarded in the name of ghost names, they are too much. They should change their strategies more. We are fed up of this every time ghost names. Who has been prosecuted in this country, in Ghana, of having put ghost names onto the payroll? They should tell us.
And thankfully, like I said, we have Mr. Kusibuafo, who is the CEO, Public Sector Reforms, joining us on the line. We are grateful for your time. So we've been hearing from the workers. At the last count, we had Auditor General, the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. They say it is currently ongoing. The Auditor General itself, now the OSP also joining the fray in terms of cleaning this particular payroll. You lead this Public Sector Reforms Secretariat. What really is the status of all these that we've been seeing in terms of harmonizing all the auditing that is going on when it comes to the public sector payroll?
Thank you very much. What I can say is that it's true, the payroll has suffered a lot from people tag as ghosts, but we believe that ghosts live in the cemetery. In fact, if you consider monies that we pay to such ghosts, it will be in the whooping range of about 5 billion every year. And that is big enough for a small country like Ghana. It is taking a huge toll on our budget. And that is a very serious problem for all of us and a very serious concern. Now, what we have seen is that the persistent existence of this ghost name on our payroll is as a result of largely a syndicated form of thievery that people collaborate. So sometimes it's a deliberate ploy to take money from the state by a group of persons ranging from several ranges in the system. Either the person will not report early enough for the name to be cleaned, or the name will not be removed at all, and the syndicate aggregate somewhere to share the booty. This is what has lived with us for a very, very long time, especially during the period that we were doing manual validation. It was a very serious canker then. Now, as we move forward, the measures we need to take are through a means by which the names could be removed automatically from the payroll. As head of public sector, we have gone around several countries. Other countries have had such experiences in the past. Now they are far better than what we see here. And not reinventing the wheel, we believe that there are certain things that when we put in place will help all of us. For instance, why can't we capture all persons on the government payroll biometrically? That should be the first. Why can't
But
we get
these are things that we've heard before, Mr. Kusibuafo.
Yes,
this
that is what I'm
biometric
telling
process.
you. I'm coming now with the processes that we are doing. We need to get their database and immediately connect them, building that data integration. We need the National Health Service in place, for which we are doing now. We have the national identification, we have Controller and Accountant General, we have fair wages, we have the various ministries and agencies, we have them. When we have a database like this, for instance, if a person dies, immediately the data is entered by the registrar of birth and death, it triggers automatically into a system to inform all the other agencies that are connected with the person that the person is dead and that the person's salary is automatically truncated. You don't need somebody to come and report to you A, B, C, and D is dead before you wait and get confirmation wherever you will get it from, and you may not know whether the person will even do the confirmation for you. You don't wait for that. When the person dies, there is a death certificate for the person. The person is entered as a dead person. Why is this information not get to Controller Accountant General so early? Why shouldn't it at the same time get to NIA? And at the end of the day, the Controller Accountant General getting this signal will inform the bank simultaneously that A, B, C, D is dead and that his salary had been suspended.
And I'm hearing you give us all the fine ideas, and this will be not be the first time that we are hearing it. Why is it difficult to implement?
It is being implemented. That is why I'm saying that a system is in place. Just last week, a contract of that nature was given out for a system to be built. To get that database ecosystem in place. So from now onward, any Ghanaian who has not gotten a Ghana card, Controller Accountant General started mentioning that it will start 2-3 years ago. There was a news and there was hula baloo as to why such an issue without the union being informed. But let me honestly tell them that any worker with that Ghana card must begin to look for a Ghana card. Otherwise, from next year onwards, an issue of a Ghanaian not having a Ghana card, not fully validated, will not receive a salary.
Finding the ghosts now, from now onwards, all the ghosts will be found, you're saying?
No, I'm saying that there is a time. That is why I'm saying that now a budget has been read. we all know, as for the year, I hope it is ending. That is why I'm saying that from next year onward, quite recently, Fair Wages and Control Accountant General piloted a system like that for us to see. Somebody who died about 10 years ago was still on the payroll. Somebody who died about 7 years ago that I even attended his funeral, I found his name there. Why is it so? Somebody might be collecting the money. Definitely, money will not flow from the consolidated account, jump into your pocket. Somebody will push it into an account. And somebody might have signed a check or might have an arrangement with the bank to take that money. If that is so, then the issue is that just like now the OSP is coming in to introduce the legal side, there must be legal punishment of all those syndicates within the chain, along the chain of all these problems. So that when people are being prosecuted in Ghana here without prosecution and surcharging, they will see it as a problem.
Okay, we are grateful. That's Mr. Kusibuafo, the CEO of Public Sector Reform Secretariat there, speaking to us on this particular concern also raised by the OSP.
And he references the work being done by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Thankfully, we can speak to the Chief Executive Officer, Ben Arthur, who joins us now. Mr. Arthur, thanks for your time here on Newsnight.
Thank you very much. And good evening to all of you. And good evening to all your listeners as well.
And what's the status of your own payroll monitoring that you started sometime?
It's still ongoing. So far, we have been able to cover the Greater Accra region, Western, Volta, Central, and the two regions. It's still ongoing with the other institutions that have satellite offices across the country. Currently, we are collecting data on the other regions. But when it comes to local government service, we've collected all the data nationwide, and then we are left with a number of regions to go.
When do you hope to finish?
In fact, for Fair Wages, it is not an exercise to be finished. We have actually created a whole unit called Payroll Monitoring Unit. So it's a nationwide one that in times past we were not able to embark on, but now we are embarking on. So it's not an exercise to see at all. Because as we continue to determine allowances and other benefits, you must continue to monitor to see if its implementation is being done the right way, whether it's being abused or others are being abused.
So for clarity, you have the payroll monitoring, but you're also doing a payroll audit. Is that what it is?
In fact, audit is one of the instruments for monitoring. When you say payroll monitoring, audit is only one of the instruments used for monitoring. Monitoring can be a mere observation. And so auditing is only one of the tools that one uses for monitoring.
Yes, but you are implementing a nationwide audit now.
Pardon?
But you're implementing a nationwide audit.
Oh yes, it's monitoring, and monitoring means that sometimes it's not just the auditing, sometimes investigation. We have had to give vehicle numbers and identities for further investigation. So it's not just the auditing.
And what have you found so far from the monitoring?
That we found a lot of details that for some of them we are dealing with their respective management to deal with the matter. So I will not be able to put institutions and particular findings here. It will not be fair. It is when they fail to deal with the matter that we want to bring.
But broadly, what are you discovering?
But broadly speaking, one of the key things that we want pay earners and those who are administering the pay to also help us deal with is that we have had instances where people have sold their vehicles. We have had instances where people have converted the use of their vehicles for commercial reasons and are yet collecting vehicle maintenance allowance. That is problematic. We have people, a number of them who have still received
accommodation allowance or rent allowance and yet occupy official bungalows. So anytime we have had the occasion to come across any of these, we take it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Sir Arthur. I'm grateful that you joined us with that update on the work that you are also doing. And if you work in the public sector, I know this is something you would have encountered over the years. So listening to Newsnight on Joy 99.7 FM, we are counting down to that national dialogue on Monday.
Ghana stands on the verge of an environmental and a health crisis. Our rivers, forests, and children are bearing the brunt of an illegal gold mining crisis. Their future, our legacy, is stake. Join us for an urgent national dialogue and a call to action following the Agents Hotline documentary, Poisoned for Gold. Together we gather experts, policymakers, and leaders united to save our land, our water, and our children. Be part of the solution. Tune in to Joy News, Joy FM, or us online on the 4th of December, 4 p.m. at the Labadi Beach Hotel. Your voice matters for our nation's heart and health. Don't let this moment pass. Your engagement can change the future. This event is in partnership with the Ghana Chamber of Mines and WaterAid.
And it is this Monday at the Labadi Beach Hotel from 4 p.m. And Emefa, on the back of that Poison for Gold documentary series that won Erasasari Dog called the Journalist of the Year, we are bringing stakeholders together for a major conversation. As we all know, illegal mining is still a major matter. It is as if nobody's paying attention to it anymore, but we want to shine
reason why we are calling to action on this particular forum is a national dialogue happening in 3 days, and we've been counting down to that. And like you said, the PAV ANSA Journalist of the Year, Erastus Asari Donko, also leading this forcefully. And at the end of it, this will not be just another talk. We are hoping that at the end of it, we'll have a call to action for all of us to rally around. Is the bit about saving our children for me, because we've heard the scientists talk about how it's affecting, in fact, the food we eat, the water we drink, amongst others. That goes without saying. So we are hoping that at the end of it, really, there will be a change.
Yeah, and you're invited. It's from 4 p.m. and it's going to be live here on the Joy News channel, on the Joy News channel, indeed, and Joy 99.7 FM.
And all our social media platforms as well.
Indeed. And as you know, as Emefa had said, we're going to have a communique on the back of this, and we'll be handing them over to the duty bearers, who will be represented there, by the way, to interrogate this.
Right
I'm looking forward to the presentation by Professor Frimpong Boateng, who will be walking us through the work and his own suggestions as to how you can deal with this. And of course, the EPA will be there, also civil society groups. We are doing this in partnership with WaterAid and the Ghana Chamber of Mines, and all of you who will join us both in person and listen to us on radio, on Joy News channel, also on across our social media pages. So we'll see you there at Labadi Beach Hotel, the Omanye Hall, and George is joining us with business.
Hi, Evans, and coming up in business, Bank of Ghana pegs total value of mobile money transactions for last year at a little over 1 trillion Ghana cedis in latest payment report. And Ghana indicates preparedness to accept any new date put forward by external creditors over cut-off date for restructuring of the country's debts. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntax Tanks, and Pepsodent Charcoal and Herbal.
When you want to eat, just Momo it. Tired of the long queues in the supermarket? Pay with Momo. When you really want that beautiful new blouse, just Momo it. When you want to get a trim and get fresh to impress you know who, just Momo it. When you need to pay your utility bills and domestic staff, Shani Momo. When you want to send love to the family back home, send some Momo. Join the millions of MTN Momo users all over Ghana and live life the brighter way. So just Momo it. MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kindle Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHF, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
No matter your water needs, Syntex has it all. Syntex tank was first to introduce double layer tank, and now you can have as many layers as you want. Syntex tank was first to introduce white inner layer tanks in Ghana, and now introduces the customer specs order, which will let you order any color and size you want. Syntex tanks gives you the biggest warranty of 7 years, which no other tank gives you. So whatever your water consumption, size of project or demand, choose Syntex tank. Syntex tank, stress-free. Syntex tank, reliable. Syntex tank, maximum guarantee. Call 0244 335 168, Kumasi 0505 555 666, or visit syntexgh.com. Syntex tank, a strong, a tough.
Conflicts continue to arise in our world, and it requires the right skill set to handle matters professionally, which is why the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, KAIPTC, offers a series of professional courses including conflict analysis and mediation, leadership and management in security organizations, and artificial intelligence in peace building. These courses are innovative, dynamic, interactive, and practical, tailored for professionals involved in peace building activities in Ghana and beyond. Apply now, government officials, NGOs, civil society representatives, researchers and academics, practitioners in peace and conflict resolution, technologists and data analysts in the peace and security sector, defense sector actors. Course duration 11 to 15 December 2023. For further inquiries, visit www.kaiptc.org or the KAIPTC premises.
For over 10 years, Old Mutual has been touching lives in Ghana. Whether you're a trader or a student, an entrepreneur or an employer, or nearing your retirement, we have the right financial solutions tailored just for you. Contact Old Mutual on 030-7000-600 or visit our website on oldmutual.com.gh to learn more. And let's realize your financial freedom together. 10 years of greatness, here for a lifetime. Old Mutual, do great things every day.
Media Sambisanda mo. Eti emrati no. Mumu hwan pa na tumi hwe na mo bodompe mo man yakono. Eye kwabna. Na mumu hwan so na tumi tasmale me ma yene nyina de. Eye kojo. Enu kro. Kobre tumi hwe na bodompe mo sense o yi super accident eba. Aye den aban ne do braye. Bo si eti na mo ho ban na sem ma na ho de ne. Sa ani na kudwo so yi super accident chako. Na eno ne de e ma wo se wo ye krejen fita. Na watimi asiri bedwo ma na feel you. Ey kojo. Yeah. Pepsodent Heba and a Pepsodent Charcoal. Afedie. You're gonna natural.
FDIJ Jadion Katuyatu.
The luckiest. Luck is everywhere. For everyone. Yeah. The luckiest.
Keep buying your luckiest ticket with star 712 hash as an individual, a group, an association, or even a community, and stand a chance of winning in the community draw or the ultimate draw on 23rd of December. Be the luckiest on star 712 hash and win millions. Ticket sale starts on October 4th, 2023, and draw date is on 23rd December 2023. Play responsibly, not for persons under 18 years. This promotion is regulated by the NLA on the Caritas platform. Win millions on star 712 hash.
The luckiest, you could be the luckiest.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the total value of mobile money transactions reached a little over 1 trillion Ghana cedis for last year. This was captured in the Payment Systems and Oversight Annual Report for 2022 released by the Bank of Ghana. There is more in this report.
The Bank of Ghana is putting out this report after an audit of the numbers covering mobile money transactions for last year. The report showed that in 2021, total transactions reached 978 billion Ghana cedis compared to the little over 1 trillion Ghana cedis in 2022. The total amount of money that mobile money accounts have kept with commercial banks, according to the report, went up significantly to reach 13 billion Ghana cedis, ending December 2021. Airtime top-up, purchase of global system mobile communication product purchases, cash in and cash out came up as the top three in terms of channels used by subscribers for mobile money transactions. It also emerged that total cash-in transactions values, however, declined by 21% to 130 billion Ghana cedis in 2022 compared to 165 billion cedis in 2021. It is not clear for now whether electronic transactions charged rolled out by government impacted on these transactions for now. The 2022 Payment Oversight Report also revealed that in the Bank of Ghana's quest to promote remote account opening, the regulator granted free banks approval to offer remote account opening for their customers.
And that is the Business Desk report. Now, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has indicated that Ghana is open to a new date that the external creditors may propose on restructuring of the country's debt. China's push for December 2020 as the cut-off date instead of December 2022 has delayed IMF board meeting on Ghana and the release of some $600 million. The Finance Minister has been speaking to journalists in a crowd today on the sidelines of the Securities and Exchange Commission program on capital market.
I think it's been well incorporated in certainly for us we can manage, either way. So the issue is for the membership of the OCC to get comfortable with how it impacts them.
Is it true that China wants a new TSA, given that growth, inflation, exchange rate have all improved?
The DSA is always an issue where anybody can raise the issues of the projections of foreign exchange going forward. You can raise issues on the variable of the GDP. You can raise issues of inflation. So that's not new with any formula that you have. The question is to come to an accommodation of what you all believe will be fairly reflective of the future.
How soon do you expect a result?
I hope that, by the end of next week, we'll have what we need so that the fund board can sit.
Is China the drag back?
I think everybody is looking at comparability of treatment in there, and China and France certainly are co-chairs, so they have a good impact on what will happen. But we should be okay.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Now, financial economist Professor Lord Mensah is warning of some serious economic cost over delays in approving the 2024 budget. It is coming after the Speaker of Parliament, Apawu, ruled today that the budget is still before the House and it hasn't been approved yet. He also added that the budget could be considered next week. Professor Mensah argued that these developments are not good for the economy.
I think we should appreciate, the economic cost in such delays. As we speak now, the finance minister is waiting for about 257 billion to be released from the consolidated account to start, economic activities, to release funds to the MMDAs, the MDAs, ministries and agencies and all those. And the essentials that the country needs, because the country is like a life wire. We need some essentials to survive. So the more we delay, the more uncertainty, we try to hang on the economy. And as a result of that,
can breed economic instability. So I think a parliament, both sides should, sit down. But the surprising thing is that you did not get a true representative of the majority side.
Financial economist Professor Lord Mensah. Now, more business associations are opposing moves by government to restrict the importation of some items. The latest is the Vehicle Asset Dealers Union of Ghana and the Chamber of Automobile Dealership Ghana. Its president of the chamber, that is Nana Edubonsuejikum, tells Joy Business they expect broader consultation with government and clarity on this policy.
The blanket directive as it stands now lacks clarity and a comprehensive consideration of the difficulties and dynamics within the automobile industry. So we are advocating for a more detailed and consultative process that will take into account the diverse challenges and contributions of stakeholders in the sector. We are not against government policy. We want deeper consultation on these very issues that have come up. We want clarity on what constitutes motor cars under the LI, so that together we can fashion out a more detailed, comprehensive approach in bringing this policy to fruition.
President of the Chamber of Automobile Dealership Ghana, Nana Edubonsuejikum. Now, some players in the building and construction industry have called for the reduction on import duties. According to them, the reduction of these duties will make building materials affordable and further reduce the cost of real estate in the country. Speaking to Joy Business, David Folsom, Managing Director of Apawu Engineering Distributors of Ox Air Conditioners, made the call at a ceremony to showcase some products and innovations to the stakeholders in the building and construction sector.
I believe the first thing is to help us with the duty rates, because they are high and then it's discouraging importers from bringing air conditioners. As at now, we don't have manufacturing plants in Ghana, so we just have to rely on imports. So if the government could help us at least reduce the imports so that business will be easier for all of us. So we organize stakeholders here involving building contractors, building consultants, air conditioning engineers and then technicians to tell them about what we have, Ox as an air conditioner brand, what we have for them.
David Forson is Managing Director of Apawu Engineering to the stock market. If you had invested on the Ghana Stock Exchange from the beginning of this year, the average return is now pegged at almost 30%. And Emefa, tonight on PM Express Business Edition, the argument about import restrictions would just not go away. But tonight we're trying to assess whether the economy is ready for this or not. And we'll be engaging, that is the General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union, the Karowe, Chief Executive of the Ghana Association of Industries, and also economist Professor Ebu Texin, to assess whether we are ready for this or not. And also, don't forget, tomorrow is Farmers' Day. How can we support our farmers to help when it comes to food security? It's live on all our social media platforms at 9 p.m. on Joy News. Don't miss it. And Evans as well.
Thank you so much, George. Some of your messages, we can do sports. This one, greetings from Anglo. Truly, as a Ghanaian, it will be too difficult for me as a parent to get all it takes to get my ward into the boarding school. That's one of the stories we'll be talking about shortly. I know also this one also says, my worry is what are the students going to learn before Christmas break? We also have one, Michael Semado from Anglo. He says, please, the president should cancel the reopening day for the year one students that are coming to school. And what is the special prosecutor expecting when he presents bad cases in court? And this one, that's from Nanekia Mwabwating. And this one says the special prosecutor is only experiencing just a bit of what great Chachuchikata went through during the election petition, and exclaimed they have sown the wind and will reap the whirlwind. And finally, Godwin in Kumasi says, I knew the GBA will come to chastise the OSP. If the courts have ganged against you, how would you go to the same people for remedy? Let's do sports. Hello, Musbao.
Hello, Emefa. Well, the Ghana Premier League is in some trouble because its headline sponsor, BetPower, they would do their sponsorship for the league, and they released a statement earlier in the day confirming that they have withdrawn their sponsorship for the league and are now focusing on player welfare. And by that, they mean they're going to increase the locker room bonus for all players, that teams that win a game in the Ghana Premier League, where players were being paid bonuses of 150 Ghana cedis, and now they will be receiving 400 Ghana cedis. Now, the Ghana Football Association have also released a statement to confirm this new partnership with BetPower. Now, originally, the partnership with BetPower was supposed to fetch the Ghana Football Association some $6 million over 3 years. It started in August 2022, and after a year and 3 months, the sports and firm says it's no longer interested in being the headline sponsor and will now only support the players and also construct a pitch at the Ghana Man Soccer of Excellence. Well, tomorrow the Black Queens are going to be in action and they'll be playing Namibia in the final round of qualifiers for the 2024 Women's African Cup of Nations. And Ghana that comes on after victory over Rwanda in the last round. Well, the Black Queens have not been at the tournament since 2018. And Nora Hoptel says they are ready for the game tomorrow.
Needs to be positive fortitude to be together, fixed some values, and we said we are willing to go until the end, and this is very important tomorrow. That we follow this way. Tomorrow, I know it's a holiday, so I hope not everybody's travel out of the city, that everybody's travel into our stadium. Yes, I think we deserve this attention, and we need also this energy and spirit, because it's home game and we have then a long travel for the away leg. So yes, I hope everybody's coming to the stadium and will support us.
Nora Hoptel, head coach of the Black Queens there. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. at the Crash Sports Stadium, and it's free gate. Emefa, you might want to pass by and enjoy holidays.
Definitely. Thank you. After visiting Hotel Cheche, we'll be there as well. Now,
Hotel
Cheche, yeah, it's for the winner of the Who Loves Joy promo. We'll be talking about
the
it.
Joy
we'll
Loyal Listener
promo. Yeah, we'll be there. Tomorrow. Now, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbing is directing the Education Minister, Dr. Yawasi Educhum, to reverse the decision for first-year SHS students to resume school next Monday, barely a week after the school placement was released. Well, the issue came up when the ranking member on the Education Committee, Peter Nochukotoi, made the statement.
Both teaching and non-teaching staff in the senior high schools have not taken any rest. This is seriously affecting their health. It is therefore necessary to allow them some rest during this break to the end of the year. Mr. Speaker, many of the students will be traveling from far to their various schools and will only have to go back home 2 weeks after resumption for the Christmas break. It is only appropriate that to avoid the risks and dangers associated with traveling during that first period, that GES should reconsider their decisions of making students report on Monday.
And the Speaker has intervened.
After the debate, this is what the Speaker said.
Raise a very important point, but the issue is that it's so urgent that I'm not even sure that in myself leading leadership to try to contact the minister, we will succeed in doing so as early as possible. This is the appropriate time for us to rely on our key partner, the media, which can easily reach out to everybody to assist us. And that is why I'm referring to a release from the Director of Media Relations to convey this as the position of the House. The minister will hear it, parents will hear it, students will hear it, tutors, non-teaching staff, they will all be informed to hold on. In other words, the students are not to report. And the minister should be here on Monday to brief the House. In other words, we agree that it's not proper for the academic work to resume Monday. I mean, it's not even practicable. They will go there and there will be a lot of frustration. Even to move, you yourself know the situation we are in now. To move from Accra to go to Boko, if your son is sent there, even to get money during this unitary period, to be able to buy the items, to get lorry fare for them to move. Within this, how many days? 3 days. That definitely is not practicable. And so the call is for them to hold on. In other words, not to open until the matter is sorted out. And we are proposing for the minister to consider the first week of January before coming to meet us on Monday. I think the fastest, the quickest, the easiest, the cheapest means of doing this is through the media. That's why I gave the directive.
Number 3 has spoken. And
that's precisely where we need to end it.
Oh, I'm sure the minister, I'm told that the minister, GS, they are all talking about this. So we'll get to know. But parents want to know, really, what happens if you still take your ward to school on Monday, now that number 3 has spoken. These are answers that we have to get for you subsequently. So be looking out for the statement.
So will you send your kid to school on Monday?
No, number 3 has spoken.
Okay.
So I'll wait.
Finito.
Yes.
Case closed.
It is done.
It is done.
Yeah. That's how we wrap up tonight's edition of Newsnight.
Oh, but guess who is joining Alexis Bill for personality profile later tonight? In fact, right after us is KOD. And who's that?
Kofi Ochredako.
Okay.
Is our guest. You want to stay?
Emefa is excited.
Yes,
I am
very
too.
excited.
I am too.
Yeah.
I am too.